So my topic is war. I'm going to tell you some facts about war. War can be defined as an armed state of conflict between a nation or state or groups within the nation or state. The shortest war on record lasted 38 minutes after Zanzibar surrendered to Britain. The longest war, the 100 Years' War, lasted 116 years between France and Britain. Since 1495, no 25-year period has lasted without war. The first revolution took place 28 BC. Since 1815, there's been 210 interstate wars. The first landmine was caused in 1816 during the Revolutionary War between Britain and Southern Ireland. Landmines cost 24,000 deaths a year. The NATO attack on Serbia in 1999 during the Kosovo War killed more animals than people. Annual global spending on military is more than $1.3 trillion a year. 45% of that comes from the United States. 1 out of every 2 casualties in a crossfire is caused in war is a civilian. Some wars that America has been in: the American Revolution, the War of 1812, the Spanish-American War, the Mexican-American War, the Civil War, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Persian Gulf War, and most recently the Iraq and Afghanistan War. How war has impacted my life, I'd like to start off with a quote. War is a poor chisel for carving out peaceful tomorrows. That's from Martin Luther King. So war is as old as people themselves. It's consistent within the world and every culture and society. Conflicts and differences among people are always going to exist. The reasons and motives are sometimes unnecessary, unexcusable, and unreasonable, but no matter what, everyone is impacted by war. Everyone has an effect. All of you have been impacted some way or somehow, probably most recently by the Iraq-Afghanistan war. It's taken a toll on our economy, which affects everyone. The war that I've been affected by most is the Vietnam War. My pap was in the Vietnam War from June 1965 till July 1966. He's 66 years old now, and he still is the man he is today because of the Vietnam War. Before the war, my pap played pro baseball for a AAA team in Bluefield. That's downstate West Virginia. He played for the Bluefield Bandits. And after some success there, after a few weeks, the Pirates picked him up. In only the 6th spring training game versus Cleveland, my pap blew out his knee diving for a ball in the outfield. So his baseball career was put on hold. He thought it was temporary. A few months later, in late May, my pap got a letter from the government saying he was going to be drafted to the Vietnam War. The temporary hold he had thought just got a lot longer. So my pap went and fought for the war in what he describes as the most long and terrifying year of his life. At first, his jobs were simple. He was a radio operator and training officer. After a few months, he got promoted. Back then, they called it tunnel rats for the guys who went down and searched out the underground Vietnamese spies that were planning ambushes. Then, in his final months, he was promoted to a sergeant. Pap earned a Purple Heart for saving 2 men's lives during his time as a sergeant in the midst of combat. He was shot in the same knee he had injured during baseball. He still walks with a limp on that knee. All this my pap doesn't really like to talk about much. He's really quiet and keeps to himself about it. I got most of this from my grandmother. She says that before the war, he was an optimistic, upbeat, outgoing person. After his 13 months of service, he came back and he was a completely different man. The war changed the way he acted, and he was negative to himself and never communicated with anyone, as she described. She says that from the time he came back, he was a completely different man, and this war changed him forever. After 8 months of arguing and disagreeing because of his changed outlook on life, my grandmother and pap separated. To this day, my pap is still to himself, silent, and shows no communication or affection. His outlook on life has changed. So the guy that used to be upbeat, positive, and optimistic is now silent and shows no affection towards many people at all. Just like the song says, war has shattered many men's dreams, it's made him disabled, bitter, and mean. That's what the war has done to my grandfather. It's had its effects on me because it's changed the person my pap is today and how it's changed my relationship with him. That's how I relate the song to war in my life. How I interpret the song? The song talks about how war is pointless, useless, and is good for nothing. It doesn't solve anything, but only creates feelings of hatred and remorse. War is very different for many people, and it's different for every war. But one thing that's consistent with every war is that people die, and innocent people are killed. War has devastated thousands of families over the years. Happiness and peace never comes for everyone from a war. It's a terrible evil. No mother or father wants to see their child go and fight and die in war. No culture and society wants to see their people die and their government go to war. The youth of a nation during a war feels uneasy and rebellious. They feel that they need to take responsibility for their country and to step up and take action. War can bring fear to a nation. People sign up for a war and may not return home. Young people that enlist throw away dreams and opportunities they once had. Dreams are crushed, futures are twisted. Of course, not everyone dies in war. Some are injured, some are disabled. But no matter what, everyone has the emotional and physiological toll and the impact that's placed on them during war. It changes people's outlooks and attitudes on life. It can make people stressed, depressed, and it can make people solitary and mean. Life is short and precious. It shouldn't be spent fighting wars and dying in pointless battles. The fact we know about war, no matter what people's opinions are, is that it always ends with bloodshed and the death of innocent people. Good morals and values are slipping away from societies today. Peace, love, and understanding are just a few that need to be reinstilled into the world. Freedom is great, but do we have to fight for it? Is it really freedom? There are other ways to solve problems wars won't answer.